35 years since the remnants of Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, dumping feet of rain and causing widespread flooding. The damage it caused isn't completely repaired, but progress has been made. I'm digital anchor Brandy Smith. In this KHU 11 special, we'll look back at what happened, what's changed, and what still needs to be done. If you lived in Houston in August 2017, you probably remember exactly where you were when Harvey rolled in. It made landfall 2 days before, smashing into Rockport, then crept up to Houston and just held position. By the time the storm moved on, it had dumped more than 50 inches of rain in parts of Harris County. Harvey claimed 36 lives in Harris County, as well as 3 each in Montgomery, Galveston, and Fort Bend counties. All told, more than 300,000 buildings took a hit, along with up to 500,000 vehicles. This truck, stranded in high water, was one of those vehicles, and its driver nearly became one of the storm's casualties. But a rescue team just happened to drive by in the nick of time. As the remnants of Hurricane Harvey drenched Houston,
this was really something else.
And the water rose.
It's pretty devastating to see all that water.
The situation grew dire.
This is the worst one I've ever seen.
Streets quickly turned into rivers, trapping drivers.
We were on the Beltway headed over to Tidwell and the Beltway 8, where a lot of the subdivisions were flooding. And that's when you came running after us and flagged us down.
I said, there's a lady over there. I said, she's flagging us down. I said, what's she doing up here anyway?
Trying to get reconnected. I was doing a live report on that overpass where photographer Mario Sandoval spotted a truck stuck in several feet of water. Robert Roberson still inside. He needed help, and as luck or chance would have it, a sheriff's truck drove by with Major Marty O'Brien and Deputy Richard Jew.
Are you guys headed down to the truck right here?
They hadn't been, but after a quick look at Roberson's situation, they rerouted.
We have a boat coming.
The hard part is just trying to find a location to put in it. Once I get in there, I'll be okay.
Before long, though, Major O'Brien steered that airboat right up to Roberson's passenger window.
I told Richard, I said, now grab onto his side mirror if you can, because we're going to hold us there in case there is a current that'll pull us away from him. We don't want that.
I pulled up, I said, are you all right? And he goes, yeah, I think so. I said, I'm pretty wet. And I looked in there and you could see all his items floating in the water. Man, he's in pretty bad shape.
They got Roberson back on land.
Sir, thank God you're okay.
Then they just kept going.
We did hundreds of rescues, to be honest with you, over the 4 days of being in the airboat.
Wherever folks needed help, these guys were there. Before you say, oh, it's their job, actually, it's not.
We have some of the finest people working under the Reserve Command who work tirelessly to serve the citizens of Harris County. People like Major O'Brien and people like Deputy Jew, who when they see something occurring, they'll take action and they'll do something about it.
They're reserve deputies, volunteers who have full-time jobs.
Come on, bud, what do you need?
Major O'Brien runs his family-owned Southland Hardware.
We've had a good long run there.
So even when he's not saving lives...
Double stick tape, carpet tape? Yes. Yeah, you just want to put tape on the okay, I'll show you.
He's still helping people.
Thank you. Okay. If you need anything else, it's yeah.
It's the work around here. You keep running, keep running, keep running.
Jew's family owns China Garden downtown.
Here, there, and everywhere.
Being a deputy offers a change of pace.
It is different, yeah, it is.
They are just 2 of more than 200 reserve deputies working for Harris County. During the worst of Harvey, that group saved hundreds of lives.
963 people, 150 dogs, and 60 cats.
We're talking about a life-threatening situation.
They're having the worst time of their life, and you're in there to help them.
And it's a good thing for this man who in his darkest hour got a lifeline from 2 men who chose to be in the right place at the right time.
They got him.
Richard and Marty were named Officer of the Month by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund for their heroic efforts. They're both still serving as reserve deputies, and both guys told me they've performed hundreds of rescues in their more than 35 years, but never on live TV. Just like the rest of us, they're happy that story had a happy ending. So does this next story, but it took years. This is what the Gomez home looked like in December of 2017, badly damaged by Harvey. Melissa Correa shares what it looks like now.
The Gomez home was unsafe, unhealthy, unlivable in 2017. Hurricane Harvey blew off the roof, soaked every inch of the home, making conditions dangerous for Betsabe's dad, Martin Gomez.
And I just feel really bad for my dad.
The little girl wrote this letter to Santa, asking for a new roof. State Rep Armando Wale shared the letter on Facebook.
So I seen your story on Facebook, and it touched my heart.
And the post went viral in 2017.
But I think this was much bigger than just trying to fix a roof.
Wish you a Merry Christmas, okay?
Neighbors donated food and Christmas gifts, and in 2017, Harris County Judge Ed Emmett first connected with the family. Federal grant money would later cover the county project, which took years.
It was a battle.
Even with political help.
So although this is exciting, it shouldn't have to take this long to get it done. We still need to do better, and we still need the federal government to ease the regulations so that we can make the families whole again as quickly as possible.
Because the goal was to get Mr. Gomez back into his home. But he died in February.
This house will always remind me of him.
It's what he prayed for. No holes in the wall, no mold, no leaks. Room for his family to grow.
Wow.
It's unreal. It really is unreal to us.
And I just thank God and everybody who helped and supported us through it all.
Like Mattress Mac. When KHOU told him about the Gomez family, Gallery Furniture donated brand new beds, sofas, and a kitchen table.
It's a miracle, honestly.
Because I never expected to have this help.
Okay, 1, 2.
From one little letter that she wrote for her classmates, for her teacher, ended up being able to make all of this happen. It's just an amazing feeling.
Wow.
A return home for a family that's endured so much since Harvey.
After about 8 months and 2 motel rooms, you can imagine how excited the family was to unpack and stretch out. Harvey didn't just impact homes, though. Years after the storm, Jason Miles looked at how one area struggled to get back in business.
Along one strip of Highway 6 in West Harris County, where neglected buildings dot the landscape,
A lot of people packed their stuff and left.
Sam Webby and his family are working to turn this old restaurant into a car lot and showroom.
It's not great at all, you know. It smells bad, but we're gonna remodel it.
Swamped by Harvey and or the related release of reservoirs, rebuilding has been slow, if not impossible for some, similar to what we've seen around Greater Houston in the 4 years since the flood. You may know of buildings in your own area that never bounced back.
And then you had the double impact of COVID.
Harris County Precinct 3 Commissioner Tom Ramsey says there have been success stories thanks in part to government resources.
There are small business loans. There's also specific Harvey-related initiatives. There's specific COVID-related initiatives.
County officials say major infrastructure projects approved after Harvey, and some of which have been completed, should protect homes and businesses from future flooding.
Those include bayou and retention area upgrades like this.
And that's important. That was a Harvey-driven issue, and we've got those projects on schedule.
Back along Highway 6.
It's going to be nice, new, brand new.
Webby is taking his time giving this property proper attention.
The street's always busy. A lot of people coming by. It's going to be a good future.
In West Harris County, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Jury duty in Harris County finally returned downtown in February 2022. The county's Jury Assembly Plaza reopened after an extensive renovation. The mostly underground facility was among several in the courthouse complex severely damaged during Harvey. The district clerk says FEMA covered most of the $12 million price tag for repairs, but the county added flood-proof seating and other materials in case of another disaster.
We've been assured it will never flood again. The flood doors are working, and they were functional even in Harvey. But in the event that it did flood again, it's been rebuilt where it could be hosed down and brought back on service a lot faster than what this has been done.
Upgrades include new painted block walls instead of sheetrock that soaks up water, and seating and other furnishings that can also be hosed down if needed. A year ago, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner gave an update on what's been done since Harvey to keep homes from flooding. Adam Bennett breaks down the numbers and shows us what's next.
This is getting ready to come out here in a minute.
Harvey is not the first time some Houston businesses like Three Brothers Bakery have had to deal with flooding.
It's been pretty devastating.
But city leaders hope it's the last.
We're always asked, are we better today than we were on August 28th, 2017? And my answer is hell yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Dave Martin credits projects like the Lake Houston Dam and dredging nearby. His district in Kingwood became an island during Harvey.
Are we safer today than we were 4 years ago? I think the answer is yes.
During this morning's city council meeting, Mayor Sylvester Turner listed those improvements. 42 infrastructure projects done, 9 more underway, 124 quicker fix drainage projects called SWAT also completed, with another 18 set to be finished by next summer.
That has really helped a lot of people to not flood.
Mayor Turner also said the city has acquired 10 properties for stormwater detention and helped elevate more than 260 homes. And he said firefighters now have more boats, high water rescue vehicles, and a new water rescue team with 80 members.
We are not at that point where anybody is claiming mission accomplished.
After Harvey, Houston overhauled its building regulations to protect property and lives in flood-prone areas. But KHU 11 investigative reporter Jeremy Rogalski discovered one project that may be getting around the tougher new rules.
After Harvey's devastation, Mayor Sylvester Turner pledged to build a stronger, more resilient city with a stricter floodplain building code.
A defining signature moment in the city of Houston.
But that signature moment has gotten muddled in this flood-prone Northwest Houston neighborhood with a proposed 100 townhome development.
At all levels in the city, there's confusion.
It just doesn't make sense. It defies logic.
A lot of red tape. A lot of red tape.
These nearby homeowners have been trying to cut through the red tape for months.
This is my third time speaking about
attending meeting after meeting at City Hall, trying to get an answer to a basic question.
Should the developer have to comply with the tougher new city regulations, or should it be grandfathered under the old, weaker city floodplain building rules?
Lovett Homes filed its project application under the wire back in 2018, just weeks before the revised city code. But 3 years later, it changed the plans.
They want to raise the lot 3 feet.
This notice mailed to homeowners shows a nearly 3-foot retaining wall at the site. In other words, building the townhomes on slabs much higher than everyone else.
The risks that come from that are flooding out your neighbors.
I'm very concerned that once they lift this property, that it will end up impacting me and that water will run into my backyard and flood my home.
Marie Carlisle took this video outside her backyard of truck after truck dumping fill dirt, despite the new floodplain ordinance, which clearly states no fill shall be used as structural support of any structure.
Common sense is you change the plan, you lose the grandfathered status.
if you have a new plan, you should follow the new regulations.
And that's exactly what managing city engineer Richard Smith told them at a December super neighborhood meeting over Zoom.
They would be required to meet the current standard and they would not be grandfathered in any way.
Richard Smith misspoke, and I apologize for that.
Chris Butler is director of the Houston Permitting Center.
He's clearly misspoke.
And that adds to the frustration.
It does. And just as they're frustrated, I'm frustrated that our staff are out there adding to the community's frustration.
The frustration at City Hall didn't end there. Days after that managing city engineer misspoke, Mayor Turner himself chimed in.
Legal is looking at that as well.
Pledging to have the city legal department examine the grandfather issue. But fast forward 4 months later.
What does city legal have to say about all this?
So city legal has not rendered an opinion on this.
That was 4 months ago. You haven't gotten any word from city legal, any guidance?
No.
It's inconsistency at all levels.
I think that the right hand is not talking to the left hand.
I'd go so far to say that there's a dereliction of duty for those public officials.
After all the mixed messaging and modification to the plans, now the mayor's office says the legal department, quote, concluded that the character of the project has not changed since the original filing. So the new development will in fact be grandfathered under the old pre-Harvey rules.
The city had issued red tags stopping those trucks from dumping dirt on site, and as of early August, homeowners told Jeremy there's been no more activity. They say they are still committed to fighting City Hall. In 2022, a new law went into effect that requires Texas landlords to notify renters about flood risks. This is huge news for families in Southeast Texas, considering most people living in Harris County are renters. Xavier Walton explains how the law works.
In Houston, it's not if, but when it'll flood.
56 years.
That's what Kenny Ryman says after living here for 5 decades.
Right by you right there on Buffalo Speedway.
During Harvey, what happened to your apartment?
It flooded. 5 feet of water.
Can anybody hear me on there? Anybody hear me?
And did you know the risk of flooding when you signed a lease to rent that property?
No.
Starting January 1st, what happened to Kenny and countless others will be against the law, thanks to a bill authored by Texas House Representative Armando Wally.
So this is just another tool in a toolbox.
Texas landlords will be required to notify renters of a flood threat.
So at flooded once in the last 5 years or live in the 100-year floodplain, the landlord has to give you in writing notification that your home that you are about to rent or lease and put your family in has a propensity to flood.
If landlords fail to do so,
you can break that lease should you not be notified and your apartment gets flooded and is substantially damaged.
It's Representative Wally's work that makes Kenny feel
a lot better.
And why is that?
Because they should let us know in the first place.
Xavier Walton.
Before we sign a lease.
KHOU 11 News.
A new tool hopes to capture a bigger picture when it comes to flooding risk across the U.S. The creators say some parts of Houston could be at greater risk than we think. Matt Doherty explains.
We noticed that we were only capturing a small portion of the population that floods and only a small portion of the impact.
These are images we will never forget. Since Hurricane Harvey, FEMA has updated its flood maps, something it does regularly. But researcher Dr. Jeremy Porter with First Street Foundation says his team worked to capture other places that may be at substantial risk.
Our model finds today about 1.1 million properties in Houston at risk of a 1 in 100 year event, and that's about 9.5%. So it is an increase of about 2% of the properties in Houston.
Porter says the nonprofit Research and Technology Group study pays greater attention to things like river flooding, proximity to reservoirs, and major weather events when considering whether particular areas are at risk.
What we do see discrepancies is more inland where smaller streams, smaller tributaries, smaller creeks are things that flood and branch off of larger river channels, which FEMA just doesn't map very well.
The Foundation's Flood Factor website says that 30% of Houston properties are at risk, and that risk is increasing in our area as time goes on because of things like rising sea levels and changing weather patterns. Some spots are at higher risk, it says, parts of Bel Air, Brazoria County, and Greenspoint. A key part of this tool is the ability to search for yourself. You can plug in your own address or any address to find out about the flood risk based on the First Street's research. Standing for Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
FEMA says it is constantly working to improve its flood insurance rate maps within the context of changing conditions. Want to see if your home is on the map? You can look for this article on KHOU.com. There is some good that came out of Harvey. The nonprofit Crowdsource Rescue was formed during the storm, helping neighbors help neighbors. Kimberly Davis shares the organization is now doing so much more.
We are currently in Kyiv.
Crowdsource Rescue was born as Hurricane Harvey hit Houston. A loose group of volunteers used tech to organize life-saving rescues as the water rose. The floodwaters eventually receded, but Crowdsource Rescue stuck around, deploying to natural disasters when they were needed.
They just cleared the path for us to get through.
Now they're in Ukraine.
Hang on, I gotta put you down a little bit. We're going through a checkpoint. They are not happy about cameras.
Alan Gary is a retired Marine.
I've been their attorney for a couple of years.
Jason Rowe is an attorney and radio host. Both are using their skills learned during some of the toughest times in Houston history to help Ukrainians as they battle for their lives.
It's that same feeling of coming together that Houston had during Harvey and afterwards, where it doesn't matter black or white or what's going on. You're there to help each other and to make it through. And that's exactly how these people feel day in, day out.
And Crowdsource Rescue says they are making a real difference on the ground in Ukraine.
Part of what the team was here to do was to train some of the Ukrainians on search and rescue techniques.
Recently, they taught a class in how to apply tourniquets.
Got shot in the leg, and one of the other troops ran over to him, grabbed him, tourniquet his leg, and pulled him to safety. And that happened the day after we provided that training. So we were very thankful that we were able to help do that.
And they don't plan to stop helping.
We look forward to our next mission. We plan on coming out, setting up a training center, and helping these people on a much larger level.
Because helping people in need is their main mission.
I'm humbled that they trust us as much as they do. I'm humbled to be in a position to help.
And this mission reminds all of us how we are connected.
It makes me proud to be an American, that we've inspired nations, we've inspired people across the world.
Crowdsource Rescue has sent teams to communities hit by storms, fed neighbors in need during the pandemic, even distributed space heaters during the February freeze. If you want to learn more about the organization, go to crowdsourcerescue.org. A year after Harvey, we introduced you to a little girl with a big heart. She wanted to help and found a way to make a difference that continues to this day. Janelle Bluda catches us up.
We have all our stuffed animals.
Walking me through her warehouse, yes, warehouse of wonders.
And more Barbie dolls.
13-year-old Lily DeBow still can't believe her eyes.
And we have like these Legos. It's crazy to me how much this has grown.
Grown in more ways than one.
And I saw kids on TV like not having toys, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need help like doing this.
This was Lily 5 years ago, only 8 years old.
Oh, here's another ball.
Handing out the toys she collected for her community right before Christmas.
And giving to kids that lost their toys.
A community who lost everything in Hurricane Harvey.
Harvey, I was in my closet with my mom, and we were watching the news and seeing all these kids leaving their homes and just leaving everything behind, and I knew that I could give my own toys away.
So when she came to me and said, I want to donate my toys, I thought, what a great way to get rid of clutter.
What started out as a small gesture.
It's like a Lego set.
Soon became Lily's Toy Box, her very own nonprofit.
We like to help kids that are going through difficult situations.
Which today has collected over $70,000.
I've given over 31,000 toys.
An operation that's moved from their living room to this warehouse.
It's just crazy how many we have got from Hurricane Harvey and how much people have donated and how wonderful a community we have.
All because one little girl,
get my finger out and then pull it down,
wanted to share her toys.
I want to grow it like as much as I can. I want to get more toys, and I just want to give it to more people everywhere.
Oh, Lily, you liked this toy when you were little.
In Houston, Janelle Bluda, KHOU 11 News.
Now looking ahead. We can't prevent the next hurricane, but we can be prepared if and when it hits. Cheetah Craft breaks down what you can do now to get you and your family ready.
When the first tropical storm watch or warning is issued, it's time to shift your disaster plan into high gear. But there are plenty of things you can do to be prepared before we ever see a storm on the horizon. Jackie Drake with the American Red Cross says now is the time for you to be thinking about your readiness. You want to be ready before you ever see something like this.
From my experience, whenever people come to a shelter, it's usually they weren't expecting that they were going to have to leave home. They didn't prepare. Making a list ahead of time is always so important.
Whether you live on the island or along a bayou in the heart of Houston, everyone needs a plan.
When you are prepared, it makes such a big difference afterward.
Now that you have your plan, I would take your list and actually print it. So that way you can check each box off and make sure you have every item like this. So you have a gallon of water, extra trash bags, paper and extra pens. Think of bringing cash and having that ready at hand, or checks in case power goes out and you're not able to use your credit cards. A flashlight, extra batteries, diapers, wipes, formula if you need it. Then think of either a sleeping bag or extra blankets. Non-perishable foods, so that can be canned goods, bars, anything that you can already pack to have for a good 2-week supply. Medications. People often forget their prescription medications are just something that they take on a daily basis. And now think of making it fun. Bring either games, card games, or books for kids to help pass the time. The key to hurricane season, have a plan, make a list, and be resilient.
If you live in a designated flood zone, flood insurance is required. But more than half of the homes that flooded during Harvey were outside that zone. So this is something experts say everyone should consider. Stephanie Whitfield breaks down what you need to know about flood insurance.
There are three big things to keep in mind when it comes to flood insurance, according to the Texas Department of Insurance: what it costs, what it covers, and the fact that there's a wait. First, the cost. The average flood policy costs about $700 a year. If you live outside a high-risk flood zone, you can usually find a federal policy for less than $500 a year. That covers your home up to $250,000. You will need a separate policy for belongings, which is something renters can get too. Remember, that insurance policy doesn't go into effect immediately. There's a 30-day waiting period. So if you wait until there's a storm approaching, it'll already be too late.
You can talk to your home insurance agent, or you can go to floodsmart.gov to find an agent to talk flood insurance. Something else to consider: generators. They'll provide electricity in case the power goes out, but there are some important safety tips you need to know about before you fire yours up. Chris Costa explains.
It's one of the most popular storm prep items. But firefighters say many people forget to read a generator's instructions.
They just figure I can crank it up, plug my equipment in, and go to town with it.
Generators put off carbon monoxide.
And it is a odorless, tasteless gas that you won't even know is there and can kill you in as little as 5 minutes.
Firefighters say never run a generator inside. Keep it 20 feet away from your house and make sure the wind is not blowing the exhaust back into your home. If you're plugging in appliances that are inside, use an extension cord rated for outdoor use and the proper power levels.
Most people, when they buy a generator, it is the first time they're buying it because a generator is an investment.
Marlene Sanchez says since Hurricane Harvey, she's noticed fewer people rushing the Home Depot where she works before storms, saying Houstonians have learned to prepare.
They were already aware hurricane season was coming, and they're not trying to go through those same situations.
So save yourself any extra headache and use them safely.
You can't fault people for it because they're in the middle of, a devastating event, and all they're trying to do is get power back to their house so that their family can be comfortable again.
Chris Costa, KHOU 11 News.
It's always a good idea to stay weather aware during hurricane season or not. We make it easy on the KHOU 11 News app. You can download it for free, then set up notifications for severe weather. That way, when storms roll in, we have a simple way to keep you updated. Here's another reason to download our free app, the Near Me feature. If you can safely get photos or videos of storm damage in your neighborhood, this is how you can get them to us. Just let us know where you took them and your name, then hit upload. Or if you just want to text us, you can do that too. Text photos to 713-526-1111. You can also text keywords like weather or traffic, and we'll send links detailing those conditions. Harvey was unlike any storm we'd seen before or hopefully will again. Now, 5 years on, the Houston community has proven itself to be strong, resilient, and prepared come what may.